The night was silent in the sprawling mansion of Alexander Reed, a man known for his ruthless business empire and an even colder heart. Yet behind those towering marble walls, it wasn't Alexander who was hardest to deal with. It was his 6-year-old daughter, Emily. Since the tragic passing of her mother 2 years ago, Emily had become a storm no one could calm. Maids, nannies, and tutors came and went, some lasting a week, others just a day, unable to handle the child's tantrums, silence, or heartbreaking cries at night. The little girl had built a fortress around herself, and no one could break through. When the new maid, Clara, arrived, she wasn't what anyone expected. She was young, quiet, and carried herself with a kind of gentle strength. She wasn't intimidated by the mansion's wealth or its reputation. She only had one reason for being there: she desperately needed the job to support her younger brother, who was ill back home. The butler gave her a look of pity. "Don't get your hopes up. No one lasts long here," he muttered before showing her to Emily's room. Clara entered softly, finding the little girl sitting on the floor with crayons scattered everywhere, angrily scribbling across a coloring book. Emily didn't even look up. "Go away," she snapped. "You'll leave me too." Clara's heart sank. She knelt beside her, ignoring the sharpness of her words. Instead of insisting or lecturing, Clara simply picked up a crayon and began coloring quietly beside her. For the first time, Emily looked up, surprised. No maid had ever joined her without giving commands. Clara didn't speak. She just colored, letting the little girl set the pace. That silent gesture was the beginning. The first days weren't easy. Emily tested Clara in every way, spilling juice on purpose, shouting during lessons, refusing to eat. Clara, unlike the others, didn't scold or give up. She listened. When Emily threw a tantrum, Clara knelt down and said, "I know you're angry. It's okay to feel that way." No one had ever given Emily permission to feel. Slowly, the walls began to crack. One rainy evening, Clara found Emily curled up in her late mother's closet, hugging a dress and crying softly. Instead of rushing to comfort her, Clara sat on the floor and whispered, "I miss my mom too." Emily blinked in surprise. She didn't know Clara was an orphan as well. That night, for the first time in 2 years, Emily fell asleep with someone by her side. Word of this reached Alexander Reed. The man who rarely showed emotion was stunned when his daughter came to dinner holding Clara's hand. He had tried everything: expensive therapists, teachers, caretakers, but somehow, this simple maid had done what none of them could. Still, Alexander didn't trust easily. He called Clara to his study. "My daughter is fragile," he said sternly. "I don't know how you've gotten this far, but if you hurt her—" "I won't," Clara interrupted softly, her voice steady. "She doesn't need perfection, Mr. Reed. She needs love." The words lingered with him long after she left. Over time, Emily blossomed. She laughed again, played piano again, and even painted a portrait of her mother with Clara by her side. The mansion, once filled with silence, echoed with the sound of a child's joy. Alexander couldn't help but notice Clara's impact, not only on Emily, but on himself. He found himself drawn to her warmth, her resilience, the way she saw people beyond their brokenness. But just when it seemed everything was healing, Clara received devastating news. Her brother's condition had worsened, and she needed to return home. She was torn. Emily needed her, but so did her brother. When she told Emily, the little girl clung to her tightly. "Please don't leave me too," she sobbed. Clara's heart broke. For a moment, she considered staying, but she knew she couldn't abandon her brother. She explained gently, "Sometimes love means helping the people who need you most. But I promise, I will come back." Emily cried herself to sleep that night, and Alexander saw just how deeply his daughter had come to depend on Clara. For the first time in years, he felt powerless. The next morning, he made a decision. Alexander arranged for the best doctors and treatment for Clara's brother, covering all expenses. When Clara protested, he simply said, "You healed my daughter. Let me help heal your family." Tears filled her eyes. For someone who had lost everything, this was more than generosity, it was hope. With her brother's health improving, Clara returned to the mansion. This time, not just as a maid, but as part of the family. Emily ran into her arms, laughing through her tears, and whispered, "You came back. You're my miracle." And for Alexander, watching the two most important people in his life smile together, he realized the truth. His wealth had built him walls, but Clara's kindness had torn them down. What began as a job turned into something far greater, a second chance at family, love, and healing. In the end, Clara did the impossible. She wasn't just the maid who stayed. She was the one who brought light back into a home that had forgotten how to feel alive.